Welcome to Suggestions Box, the series where we look at your Overwatch 2 suggestions and see if we like them, don't like them, or if it needs more cooking in the Easy Bake Oven, which apparently everybody had in the year 2000. If you're a millennial, you know what's up. Anyways, my name is KarQ, and the first one we have. If anything, I think Ana could use a passive that generates weak points on critical allies or enemies, like one at a time on cooldown. She hits those weak points to heal or damage instantaneously, or maybe do 1.5x damage. Immediately, I'm going to give you a no. I think people are adding solutions to problems that don't exist. Right now, I think Ana is already very strong, and this just makes her too good if random weak points show up, and then you get more bonus stuff. Doesn't need to be touched. Sometimes you don't need to like iterate too hard. We've seen Blizzard try things like with Mei in Overwatch 2 like a year and a half ago. Do you remember where it's like you build freeze stuns with the primary and then you mark them and then you pop it with your icicle for bonus damage? They tried fancy stuff like that, but honestly most people are just like, dude, just bring it back, just revert it, don't overcomplicate things. And this is one of those cases as well. That being said, the weak point generation idea is a pretty cool idea. I like that, but maybe for another hero, to be honest with you. Something in the future. Suggestion: change Widowmaker from a hit scan to projectile hero. You could keep her identity as a one-shot hero, as you can remove any range damage drop-off, but adds more need for technical skill than just a point-and-click hero. With a change like this, you can add more strength to other parts of her kit, as well as like less charge time to a shot. Slightly less cooldown time to the grapple, but in exchange shorten the grapple range. I think a change like this would still make her fun to people who like to quick scope. So you're just playing Hanzo at this point, right? If you go from hit scan to projectile, there usually is no damage drop off for most projectiles in the game except for like Orisa. Hanzo has no drop off. His arrows move pretty fast and he kind of accomplishes exactly what you're trying to do with Widow. But these guys are already different in their own way because one is hit scan, one isn't. I don't think you need to iterate too much on the snipers. I think sniping as an archetype in an FPS game is fine as long as it's not egregious and there's answers with other hero choices to deal with her. The problem with Widow right now is there's only a select few heroes that can deal with her, which makes it pretty frustrating to play, especially when the best ones to deal with her is on the tank role. And if you're not playing a tank that can deal with her and she's like server admin and actually clicking too many heads, it can feel frustrating to play against. And it's just one of those necessary evils. Like I died a Widow like a ton as a support player, and I bitch about it all the time too, but like I don't think you should remove a sniping character from a game like this. And she's like, I think in a vacuum, she's fine. You just need a bigger roster, or maybe you go back to 6v6. I'm not trying to hop on the train. I played both versions of the game, like I said, for many thousands of hours. But in Overwatch 1, she wasn't as problematic because you had two dive tanks, for example, that could deal with her. You had an extra option, so she never felt too bad. But here, yeah, if she's popping off, it kind of sucks. But at this point, for the suggestion, I would say, oh my God, remove the... No, not the check mark. For this suggestion, no. Suggestion: I think it's about time we separate the I need healing from the come here to get healing on support. We have two whole calm wheels and they still have these two combined, causing frustration when you want one and get the other. Oh, are they bound on the same button? I think you can separately bind them. So if you're a support hero and you have a healing ability and you look at a teammate and you press the button, I think it's X by default, it will say come here to get healing because you're looking at somebody. But I think if you're not looking at a teammate and you just press the button, then it'll say I need healing if you meet the condition, which is like what, less than half health. A separation is a nice solution to that, and binding certain voice lines to the default would be kind of nice. The second option, actually no, yeah, just decouple it and maybe add more specific like communication voice line bindings that you want specifically on certain buttons. Anybody with an MMO mouse can bind like 7 separate voice lines instead of opening up the wheel specifically for what they need. Something like that would be pretty cool for the game. So yeah, sure. All right, next one. Widowmaker's Venom Mind should hinder the target that tripped it for a second or two, giving her a chance to either escape or potentially land a kill on the webbed target. It fits thematically and adds some extra depth to her survival when she's dived by high mobility heroes. Balance it however you'd like with regards to damage, cooldown, duration, and activation time. Now I will say I think Venom Mind is a pretty uninteractable ability. It's a pretty meh, it's just like there on Widow, but it's like literally less than like 2% of the value of her kit. It's like, okay, it's kind of nice if they step over it. I think one thing, a suggestion, is you can have multiple trip mines to kind of like plant yourself in the spot you want to, but it does no damage. It just alerts her. It doesn't give her walls, but it pings her to let her know someone's flanking. Something like that was an idea that I liked back in the day. Right now, we're not trying to add more strength to Widowmaker because this was the Widowmaker Mythic skin season, so everyone's seeing a gazillion Widows every game and people are complaining about her, including me. But that's an idea to make the Venom Mind more dynamic. Making it hinder, I think, makes her too powerful. You say balance it how you like, but I think if you make it specifically hinder, what's stopping her from just like throwing the Venom Mind into the battlefield and hindering multiple people? So I don't know about hinder, but like the base idea of of like giving Venom Mind a little bit more fun and interactability is not terrible, but it's also one of those like, do we need to do anything to her at this point? It's been 8 years. It's one of those like, if you have the resources, you can maybe think of a cooler idea to make Venom Mind better, but like focus on the new heroes right now. Okay, I know Overwatch dev team is on, you know, a short leash and with limited people because they've let so many people go over the years. Their budget is definitely not as much as it used to be, so we'll keep it kind of in the middle right there with the question mark. Suggestion: when you die, they should add a little page where you can see who did the damage and how much to you and who healed you and what abilities were used on you, like in League of Legends. That could be for an advanced stats page. I think those are always nice to have, but in the game, I think adding more complexity to like browse and then maybe forcing people to like, not forcing, but some people get lost in the pages in the middle of a team fight. Not necessary for in the game, but maybe like a quick summary on who did the killing blow, like where that damage came from, the last 5 abilities used on you or something small, but not like everything on who healed you and all that kind of fun stuff. Like a small like summary maybe somewhere on the scoreboard, or like actually when you die you have the kill cam, you have a small little thingy on the top right, but a more advanced page could be after the game. But you know, I don't mind the idea, so I'm gonna say yes. Suggestion: instead of increasing Hanzo's draw time by 20% to reduce spam frequency, they should have added a delay to him loading the next arrow. Hanzo's draw not only affects the damage, but speed and trajectory of the arrow as well. It would be the same as if they nerfed Ana but kept her rate of fire the same, but her shots wouldn't be centered on a crosshair if you just didn't wait 20% longer. Oh, I guess because the draw time is like ruining muscle memory, right? It went from like 0.87 seconds to 0.8 seconds. There was like a 10% like tension timer. But you're saying just cut the attack speed of it, like the in-between arrows, and reduce the recovery time is what they call it in this game. I mean, sure, if that's the direction they want to go. They didn't give any dev notes on why they decided to buff that aspect of Hanzo. They recently buffed the tension time to actually increase the frequency of spam in a way, right? Or to make him feel stronger, like faster, because Hanzo's been underperforming. I actually think the suggestion they should do is just, I bitch about getting sniped by Hanzos and Widows, but for the Hanzo players, I think giving back the idea of fully pulling an arrow, letting you wall climb, and when you go up, you can still fire the arrow because it's fully pulled back or drawn back. That was one of the changes they added in 2017. They removed it like last year or something, and it just makes the hero feel clunky. I'm all for Blizzard making their heroes evolve with quality of life changes and make them feel better. If anything, the 2016 classic version of the game just goes to show like how far a lot of these heroes have come in terms of making them feel good. Like when you play Mercy, you just can't slingshot, can't super jump. Lucio's wall ride feels like ass, and like Reinhardt's charge steering feels bad. You can give Hanzo this fluidity as a part of the evolution of the game, and I think we'll be okay with that. But for this one, for the nerfing the draw time even more, I don't know. Or sorry, the time between arrows, I don't think so. Suggestion: allow console players to enable vibration when receiving damage. Overwatch is one of the only FPSs I know on console that doesn't have a tactile feedback when you're being shot in the form of vibration. As a somewhat new Overwatch player coming from other FPSs, it's sometimes difficult for me to even tell I'm being shot at. I think if you're used to it on console, I can see your idea. I mean, I play FPSs on PC. You don't get vibration on mouse and keyboard, but I think Overwatch does a pretty good job of like showing your screen going red intuitively to know you're low HP. I've been playing a lot of Deadlock lately, and that game I have 50-60 hours in, and I can't tell when I'm low HP sometimes. Like I can, but it's definitely not, it doesn't feel as intuitive as other games that I've ever played. I know it's not an FPS, but the point stands. Games could always improve ways to give the user information in different forms of feedback instead of just like your HP bar. So, you know, if vibration's not a thing for controller, I mean, I don't play on controller, so I wouldn't know. Yeah, I feel like they should add that. So like, I got nothing against this. Helps the console players, and if not, you just opt to turn it off, right? So who cares? Suggestion: Tracer's Pulse Bomb should apply the hinder effect. I know it's not the most well-liked effect, but I feel like her opponents can get away from her ult a little too easily, especially since her ult is a skill shot. What are you DPS players suggesting, man? When this hero is already really good. Again, this is adding a solution to the problem that doesn't exist. But a counterpoint, it kind of nerfs Tracer, even though you think it's a buff, in a fun way. Like this is a no suggestion immediately off the bat, but think about it this way. How many times have you stuck somebody and they try to like use a movement ability to get away? They just move instinctively and they run into a teammate, and then the pulse kills 2 or 3. The fact that it hinders immediately forces them to pretty much stay put and they can't move, which is already the unwritten rule. If you don't know, if you get stuck by a pulse bomb, don't move, because your teammates the onus is on everybody else to get away from you. If you're screwed, you just accept your defeat and stand still. Anyways, yeah, I just thought that was kind of a funny thing, but no, what are you guys cooking, man? Suggestion: let the player icons and the name cards be visible on the scoreboard in quick play. For those who never play comp, there's absolutely no incentive to use different name cards or player icons. Most people have their profile blocked so no one sees them anyways, and it's a fun and engaging way of getting to know people a bit when we spawn into the game. For example, a lot of esports flags from different countries show which country they're from. It's always nice to meet people from the same country as you, and has often led to a fun and chatty game both within and across teams during my matches in comp play. I mean, yeah, I always thought this was what they were going to do when they introduced this cosmetic in Overwatch 2. Like, you press your scoreboard button and then the player icon has the icon you equipped, and then your name has a name card like translucent behind it. Nothing to affect the readability of the quick access scoreboard too hard, but I do think an option to toggle that or like make it muted enough and not too distracting is a good idea. And I think, you know, it'll probably help them sell more of these damn cosmetics, because people just like buying skins and highlight intros. Like, who the hell really? I'm not going to speak for you guys, but like, I've never willingly went into the shop and bought a name card or like a profile icon specifically. So yeah, definitely skins are the big one, but not that stuff. So this is one way to do it. So I mean, yeah, sure. Suggestion: they should double or maybe even triple the height of Ramacho's Vortex. It's seriously a crime that it doesn't reach high enough to actually pull down heroes like Pharah, Echo, Mercy, or even Juno and Lucio. I actually think Ram is already really good. I think adding this buff to Vortex would be incredibly powerful. I think they could probably remove the damage that it does, or maybe even the slow if it has that strong of a pull. Well, maybe you keep the slow, but you know, it actually does a decent amount of damage if you're stuck in it for pretty long. It could probably do like 1 damage a second to kind of stop people from like self-regenerating, so to make it not a 0 damage ability. But like, if you're gonna give it like complete vertical height, I think that needs to be necessary. But you know, sure. This is one of the better Ram suggestions versus Blizzard just removing the piercing punches for half a patch and then they brought it back. Suggestion: map loading screen should have a mini map. The map loading screen? You mean the screen that shows up for literally 3 seconds before the match starts? You go the arriving at Hollywood or whatever, and then it's like literally 5 seconds and it's over. I feel like that minimap that serves no purpose there. All right, last suggestion: fix the collision box on different props on all the maps. The amount of times I randomly got caught in some tiny geometry is insane. Fix the maps. Listen, I am all for it. I literally hate how some of the maps have like little bits and pieces that, you know, I understand you want to make it immersive and make the map look honest to the location that it's in, but some of these things don't need to be there. Like Circuit Royale, second point, checkpoint. I remember trying to dodge a Hanzo arrow around the pillar, and then there's a fucking garbage can there, and I just couldn't move because it kind of like makes an angle with the wall. And I'm like, could this map really be that different if we remove the garbage can? Am I still immersed in Circuit Royale? Yes, remove that fucking garbage can. Less about collision hitboxes and more about just objects that don't need to be there. As maybe on high detail and as like a non-interactable object. Because there's things like a high detail Blizzard world where you get balloons, but they're not technically interactable. You can shoot through them and you don't even see them at all in low detail. So things like that garbage can need to go. The point stands. I like this change, and that is all I'm going to answer this week. For the suggestions, leave some more good ones in the comments. Most of the ones you suggested this week sounded pretty good, so keep up the good work. Yeah, goodbye.